Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. ScaleTrains has recently released in HO scale the EMD SD7s and SD9s, and even variations of the SD7 like the SD7R, as you can see in Southern Pacific, and the SD9M, as you can see in Norfolk Southern. So let's see what you get in the box after a quick word from my sponsor. I'm going to choose the NS for unboxing here. As you can see, ScaleTrains has a manual that is 15 pages long with functions, function charts, configuration variables, information about the DCC functions, basic programming notes, the model, and some history. And then you have, oops, 50-50 chance there, blown. The model itself, there it is in its blister packaging. You slide that open, set that aside, and the model pops out. Just watch out for the truck immobilizers, I call them. Those little bad boys, they stay on your trucks and you set the locomotive down, your locomotive may take a tumble. So, a little hard to see sometimes when you get older like me and when it's all black and it merges in. Let's go ahead and remove all of the handrail protection and take a closer look. Alright, so here are the SD7s and SD9s. The UP is an SD7. The SP is an SD7. And the NS is an SD9. So you have a nice SD7 sandwich here. So we're looking a little closer at these. Let's talk about some prototype history real quick. Starting in the late 40s, 1949 to be exact, they basically made this general purpose locomotive with improved visibility and easier maintenance over the F and BL series locomotives. Building on this, 6-axle special duty SD7 and later the SD9 were later introduced, offering better traction and versatility. The SD9 featured a higher horsepower rating than the SD7 and minor physical changes over production phases. Many were rebuilt into the 70s to extend their service life, with some operating into the early 2000s. That would be the NS version here that it actually has on the box marked 2002 plus. Before retirement by the Class 1s, and many continue on short-line railroads and at grain elevators today. So let's go over some variations, but before we do that, I'll just show you a quick 360 detail on, we'll do the UP, because that's a little more prominent. There's some differences on this UP, really differences on all three, because ScaleTrains does road name and road number specific details. But here on the UP, as we zoom in on the front, you'll see this light package similar to what SP is famous for. You've got stanchions and ladders on each side of the nose here. Lots of detail in terms of classification lights, headlight, and I want to say warning light, but essentially it may be an emergency light there. You've got MU receptacle, MU hoses, brake line hose, ScaleTrains coupler, separately applied grab irons. You have a canvas sunshade. That's what this represents, this light tan. These UPs had a canvas sunshade, so that was cloth. And you have all your compartments, battery box doors, speed recorder on the trucks there. Your horn, pretty low profile 3-chime horn there on the rear of the cab. You have your exhaust stacks, which really stick up a lot compared to the other two versions and all rail versions of this locomotive. That's one major spotting feature there. Right behind the exhaust stacks or a winterization hatch on your front radiator fan grill, and then 3 other fan grills. They do have see-through detail, as you can see there. And there's your your winterization hatch. Can't talk today. It's been a long day. Now, some of these have single fuel tanks. Many of them do. But some of them have the dual split fuel tanks that you can see here. So there's a sight glass on those, emergency shutoff as well. You have your re-railers on the trucks, as you can see on the rear here, right there. And as we get to the rear of the locomotive, see that blue and red MU receptacles, and more of the same detail, treaded walkway. Really, really nice. Accurate is what you can expect from ScaleTrains on these, on really anything they produce, especially rivet counter, which is this line. See that plumbing there going down to the reservoir? I'm guessing that's just air line plumbing. I could be wrong. You see your sanding line detail going to your trucks. And that is a quick 360, coupler cut lever, of course, but a quick 360 of the locomotive. Now a quick look at the NS, the most modern of the 3 that I'm showing off here. You can see the firecracker and ice skate antennas up top. That's a difference in the configuration compared to the UP. Also the lights, less lights. Instead of more light package up here, you have ditch lights. You have a coupler cut lever and a very plain looking snowplow, or lack thereof. There is a silver tipped end brake line hose there. We talked about the ditch lights already. These cab windows do move around, as you can see there. There's really fine etched metal windshield wiper detail on these right there. You see more of the same in terms of the other detail we were talking about on the other version. Lack of the gigantic exhaust stacks on these. These are more low profile. Also, you'll notice Norfolk Southern being a little warmer. Lack of a winterization hatch on the radiator fan grill. Rear, more of the same. Got your drop step. That is movable, as you can see there. Another kind of plain rear, lack of a snow plow on here, but you can see your coupler cut levers very clearly. Your old hatchet style, or ratchet style brake, I should say. So that's your, instead of a brake wheel, you got your ratchet style there, kind of in line to the locomotive body. And that is a quick 360 of the NS. Last but not least, you have SP here, and you know, if you got Paul Ellis on your team like ScaleTrains does, the SP is going to be very, very accurate. And that's what we have here. You have your SP light package, which they're famous for. So 3 sets, you got your emergency lights and these 2 sets of lights here. No ditch lights on these, the NS is known for those. MU receptacles, brake line hose like we mentioned before, cab window sunshades. That NS did have a bay window, cab window, that I forgot to mention. But one major spotting feature you'll notice is the lack of the dual tanks like you see on the NS and the UP. There's a single fuel tank here, leaving that open space underneath. So less capacity, but not as needed as much, or whatever on the SP that made them decide to go single fuel tank versus dual. On the rear, more of that light package, including classification lights or marker lights. And you see those exhaust stacks, again low profile, but painted that red, along with the nose and a few other areas on the locomotive for the SP bloody nose, as they call it, scheme. All right, we're zeroed out. We'll see how much these weigh. 16 ounces total. That's 473 grams, just a hair over a pound each, and that's pretty good. So there's your weight. Should equate to pretty good pulling power. All right, SP's on the track. F8 starts up this ESU LOKSound equipped locomotive. They're also available in DC, so you have that as well. but let's go ahead and hit F8 right now with track power applied. Your headlight. Here's F1. We're going to listen to some sounds real quick. We'll be brief though, so you can hear horns on all three variations. F3's handbrake. F4 is dynamic brake if equipped, which these are, but we'll cover that moving. F5 classification lights. Each time you turn it off and on, you get 3 different colors. And, you know, I just know this, guys, just from all of my knowledge. I'm not cheating at all. It's not listed in the manual at all. Wink, wink, nod, nod. But white is extra, train not shown in the timetable. Green is second section of the same train symbol or number, and red is reverse for moving. So there are your 3 colors on the classification lights, and they cycle through with the push of F5. F6 is your Mars light. As you can see there, if equipped. F7 is not used, 8 is start sequence, 9 is drive hold, 10's independent brake. We'll just go through and talk about some of these. You can individually control number boards by F14. So you just press that and that will turn on and off your number boards. As you can see there. 15 is UDE emergency light. As you can see, that red light now operates. Turn it off and the light package returns. 16 air dryer. 17's brake set and release. 18 sand valve. 19 short air let off. We'll hit that real quick. Well, you get it. F20 is a compressor, which you're already hearing cycle through. 21 is coupler. Do that again. A little hard to hear when that compressor is doing its thing. 22's cab door. Very subtle. 23's engine compartment door. 24's reverser center. 25's shutters open and close. Also very subtle. 26 manual notch up, 27 manual notch down, 28 manual notch logic, 29 heavy load, 30 automatic brake, and 31 is sand filler. Or no, sound fader. Sorry, I can't read. All right, let's go ahead and move this locomotive here. 1 speed step. As you can see, very smooth in operation. We're going to zoom out now and look at your AccuTrack 2 speedometer. Look at the AccuTrack 2 speedometer, I should say. So the AccuTrack 2 is ready to start reading. A lot of comments about the status light being down by miles per hour. Or kilometers per hour, but it is set to miles per hour and it is set to HO scale. So once that light stops blinking, that means it's got its first reading and it's working on doing the math, waiting on the second reading to do so. And I can tell you this is going to be under a scale mile per hour and it's very smooth, so we've already passed this portion of the review. But it is 0.9 scale miles per hour. So a very smooth locomotive, as you can see. Quick thing we'll do with this, added capacitance real quick before we switch out to look at another scheme. But it has nice capacitance of a few seconds for dirty track, where you lost a feeder wire, etc. Starting up the NS version, as you can see, nice number boards, very realistic, no shine through. You have your ditch lights. Different horn, because that's ScaleTrains. They're going to be very road name and even road number specific. Bell may vary as well. There's that bay window, cab window I was talking about earlier. You can just feel and hear the air going through that horn. So very realistic horn from ESU. Flashing ditch lights, directional lighting. You have ditch lights on the rear as well. We'll take a quick look at that. Here's the rear of the locomotive, again when the horn sounds. Flashing ditch lights as well. Really nice detail on these locomotives. Alright, here is the UP version. How did this become last? What has my life become? I don't know. Another beautiful version. Here's the horn. Bell. Well, it's currently running in reverse. This is running in forward because some of these actually ran long hood forward. The crews felt safer that way, and then in later years they felt a little more comfortable with the cab in the front and having that, but it's denoted by a little F on the locomotive, and obviously the decoder is accurately programmed, so we're running in reverse right now. But from what I understand, I believe it was Drayton from ScaleTrains said, it's kind of a leftover of the steam era when the whole boiler was in front of you, and the crews just felt safer with the cab at the back of the locomotive. So for a long time they operated that way, and then eventually they went ahead and did short hood forward. Anyway, we got this hooked up, and yes, I know we're going to be running in reverse, but we're doing a pull test here to get a good idea of what the locomotive pulls. Like I said, good weight on these, and looking like about 45 to 50 cars per locomotive, so that's a pretty good pull on these locomotives, which aren't the longest locomotives in the world, that's for sure. So looks like we're going to cap out at about 3.18 ounces. It's about 50 or so freight cars, and I did some real-world testing and found out that the pull test is even a little low with that estimate, so it could be 60 or more. There's just a lot of different things that come into effect when you're doing a pull test, and I don't have the time to hook up 60 cars, 100 cars every time we do a review, but that gives you a good baseline. Now if you look closely, you can see there's also ground lighting shining down on the trucks. It helps the crews see in low visibility situations if they're under movement or not. And you also have rust-colored wheels, which ScaleTrains has started to do on a lot of their locomotives. So there is a close look at your trucks. Well, that's going to wrap up the look of the ScaleTrains EMD SD7s and 9s. And several variations as seen here. There's even more variations and road numbers on ScaleTrains.com website, so be sure to check them out there, or at one of the select retailers of ScaleTrains.com. We'll leave you with a run by. Let's just do a power move, and we'll see you next time right here on the channel. Take care.